everyone. My name is Terrence here with 1010 Studios here for the Urban Music Collaboration Artist Edition. And here today we have none other than Doobie Powell. And if you don't know him, I don't know where you've been, but Doobie, just kind of introduce yourself if you don't mind and kind of let us know what you do.
What's up, people? My name is Doobie Powell. I'm an artist, producer, musician, songwriter, child of God, and I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. So now, first things first is, of course, your family is very well known in the music industry. So when did you start playing an instrument or singing or just being involved in music?
Since I was a little boy, about 3 years old, I started. Most people know me as a drummer before I got into playing keys and becoming an artist. I was a drummer for many years, and so that's how it started for me. And just being around who I call my hero, my pops, is, the one that put me on this path.
Cool. Started at a very young age. That's a very common theme with some of the folks that we kind of interview and get an idea of where they started. And so what other instruments do you play other than the drums and keys? Do you play like bass, anything like that?
I play keys. In my mind, I think I'm a bass player, but I would never play it in public.
Okay, gotcha. Totally understand. And if you had a preference, would you rather sing? Would you rather play? What would you rather do?
If I had a choice?
Yeah.
Wow. It's kind of hard. I love all of them. They all bring me joy, so I would probably say producing.
Okay. Cool. And now, since you've been playing for such a long time and probably small spaces, large arenas, things like that, can you tell me about an experience that helped to inspire you to take it to the next level when you first got started?
Repeat that again?
Sure. Can you tell me about an experience that you had in the early years that inspired you to take it to the next level, to really go full force and, be out there for the general public?
Well, like I said, I was playing at a very early age, and my dad would have me play with him, and it was on a major level. So he was up there back in the 80s and 90s. So I was on already playing at a high level. So I had a love for it, and I just continued with it, and that led me to play with other people and record with other people, and so it all I owe it all to Pops. He's the one that spearheaded and put me in this path, and helped me gain a love for what it is that I do now.
Cool. Yes, it's good to have a good foundation, especially at an early age. So was there any time that you had a thought to maybe go in a different direction other than doing music and being a producer, singer?
Is there any time what?
That you may have thought you wanted to go into a different direction?
Well, if I didn't do music, I probably would be in like forensic files or something. I love that type of stuff. I love the art of figuring stuff out and and I'm a I love all them type of shows, them crime shows, them drama type shows. So that's my thing. Even as a teenager, uh, I loved all that stuff. So if I wasn't doing music, I would probably, which mean I would have probably had to go to school, and I would have probably loved to do that type of stuff.
Gotcha.
But I didn't like school, so I was glad God gave me music.
Well, yeah, school is, I guess, for everybody to a certain degree, but I totally get you. Because school definitely can challenge you a little bit more than you think is necessary. But at the same time, it's, it'll pay off in some way, shape, or form, I believe. So, and now, since you've done plenty of, recording projects, live shows, live projects, was there any project that may have made you a little bit nervous at some point? And how did you get past that?
Um, Project to make me nervous. I don't want to sound arrogant, but I don't think I was ever nervous to do what I love to do because I knew I could do it.
Gotcha.
I felt like I was supposed to be in those rooms. Most people that get nervous about stuff like that is because they don't feel that they're adequate enough or they don't feel they deserve to be in those type of rooms. But I knew from how I was raised and what I was already doing that I deserved to be in these rooms or on the road with certain people.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That makes sense. I mean, you feel like you deserve to be there. Hey, why not? And now I know that you said your dad, of course, got you started on this music path and things of that nature. Was there any other people who were some good influences on you throughout your early years and your current career?
Um, my early years, I played with John P. Key as a drummer for a while, and he was a major influence to my artistry, as far as being on stage with him. And sometimes I had to learn to separate the two because I was a musician, but I was also a fan of watching him command the stage and watching him. You know, he was like a gospel Michael Jackson at one time. People, it was like whenever you heard John P. Key name, it was on and popping.
Right, right.
And I just loved the aura that he had. How he worked the stage and how he commanded the stage and how he did it. You know, with God being on his side and proclaiming the name of Jesus Christ. So that was big for me. Seeing him and Fred Hammond was another influence. Far as I wasn't, I grew up on his music, but his it wasn't his music for me. It was more of his professionalism and how he command the stage also, and the fact that he was a musician that was doing it on his own, even while he was with commission, but more so when he was on his own.
Gotcha.
That was definitely an influence to me. And another influence is a artist and musician by the name of Frank McComb. If you don't know him, you need to go check him out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out. I'm not familiar with that name.
We even did a song together called Better, and he was one that even though I was already doing what it is that I do, he was one that I watched, you know, on my rise, watching him uh, do what he do, so that was, I got quite a few other influences. Corey Henry is one, even though I'm way older than him. When I met Corey Henry, he was only 2.5 years old, and he was playing almost like he plays now. But at 2 and 3, it was just mind-boggling to me that this little boy who couldn't even really talk could play the organ, and it was amazing to me. And he inspired me to want to play keys more, because my prayer to God was, let me be able to play enough to produce and make music.
Mm-hmm.
That was as far as I saw it, and was asking God for it. But he superseded my prayer and actually made me a bona fide musician as a keyboard player. And but Corey Henry, among my dad and George Duke, my dad and George Duke are my top inspirations and influences and loves musically. But Corey was definitely one that inspired me at a very early age. And he doesn't even like me to say it, because he feels, that I inspire him in some kind of way. I don't know, but he was definitely an inspiration to me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure both can be true. You can inspire him, he can inspire you. Full circle, you inspire each other in different ways and different, points in your, career and such. So when it comes to instruments, be it, say a grand piano, be it an organ, or be it a keyboard of some sort, what would be your preference to play first if you had the choice in your at that moment?
Well, I'm a part of the Nord family. Nord is a keyboard. So if it ain't a Nord there, I definitely want a Fender Rhodes.
Gotcha.
Sometimes you have to play what's provided, especially if you in church. Excuse me. Especially if you're in church, you have to play what's provided. But when I'm out on the road, and someone's paying for me to come play, and on my rider, I gotta have Nord or a Fender Rhodes or both.
I guess depending upon the song types that you're going to be playing, or just your flexibility.
It don't matter. I play that even at my church. I play a Nord. So that's just my preference. Even before I got hooked up with Nord, I was playing Nord. I just love their sound. I love, especially for who I am, their sounds are more authentic to me. More close to real than most in my book. And so I was always playing a Nord and loved to play Nord. So when, I was blessed to be able to be a part, it just, it was a beautiful thing.
Nice. Now, when it comes to a style of music, do you have any certain, I guess, preferences that you kind of gravitate towards, or you like to just listen to? Even if you don't like to play it, you still like to listen to it. What might that preference be of what you like to play versus what you would listen to just at any given point?
Well, there again, I have to blame my dad for this, because my dad used to do something to all of us. I have two other brothers, uh, Billy Powell and Kevin Powell. They're younger than me. Everybody think Billy is older than me, but I'm actually the oldest. And my dad used to do something to all of us from birth until we were able to fend for ourselves. He would do something that he called the headphone treatment. And from birth until we were able to fend for ourselves, he would put headphones on us at night, and that's how we went to bed as babies and infants and toddlers. And that's how we went to bed at night. We went to bed with headphones on, and he was playing everything, jazz, funk, R&B,
Okay.
hip hop. When I was born, hip hop was just, it wasn't a really big thing. But my dad was a part of the rise of hip hop because he used to be with the Sugar Hill Gang, which was a band before everybody saw it as a rap group.
Okay.
The Sugar Hill Gang and All Platinum Records. My dad was a part of that history. And so I was listening to everything and gospel, but I don't have the testimony as a lot of other musicians and singers where they grew up in a household where they couldn't listen to nothing but gospel. That wasn't my testimony. And I feel you're limiting yourself or whoever is hindering you from experience other stuff. You're limiting your creativity that can start earlier than just as an adult when you can do it with no one telling you not to. I was afforded the opportunity to be able to listen to everything, you name it, anything jazz, anything funk, anything R&B, alternative. I mean, we listened to pop, rock, classical, and each of us, my dad was in a musical space with each one of his kids. So me and my brothers are all 5 years apart. So when I was on the scene, he was listening to stuff, and then when my brother Billy came, he was into some other stuff, and he was into fusion, and he was into a lot of different other stuff. And then when Kevin came, he was into some other stuff. But even though he was in different spaces musically, he still had us listen to everything. So we didn't lack in the information department.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, if you can listen to different genres, whether you choose to listen to it from a personal liking, or just listen to it just to understand it, is important. Because if you've never heard classical music and then you all of a sudden hear it in your adult life, then you're like, well, what is this stuff? I don't understand why they're doing that. But if you've learned it from a child or a younger age, you kind of understand the structure of it, maybe the purpose, you understand how they, arrange it, anything musical, to know why they do what they do, because one genre is here, the other genre is over here. So you never know until you get that, at least a baseline understanding of it. Now, when it comes out, well, we'd like to try to encourage the younger generation for, singers, musicians, just artistry in general. What types of words of encouragement can you give to the, up and coming, the people who are really at that younger stage of learning and going to the next stage? What can you say to encourage them in this early stage of their music careers?
I would say don't be afraid to try things. Don't be afraid to experiment with your musical mind. Because if you just stick to one thing, because that's the way the industry is right now. If you're not doing this one thing, then it's not really appreciated by the masses. And it's not even so much the masses, it's the people who control what the masses hear. So, in the people that's paying the money to make sure the masses hear this. And, you know, we have a bunch of people in power musically or entertainment or industry wise who are not musical. So their only concern is finance dollars. So we lose out on the creativity. We lose out on the musical minds that are home like me or other people that are creating music for everyone. And we get passed on because we're not cookie cutter and we're not doing what the people with the money want, the gatekeepers. So, you know, you got to be tough and you got to really have a passion for what it is you want because you can easily give up. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, sure. Do
So
you think?
that would be my advice. Just make sure you have love for what it is you're doing and make sure you're able to play all fields musically.
That's good right there because I think there's a number, probably, I don't know what the percentage is, but if I had to guess, I'd say about maybe 70-30, that most musicians or artists that are out there in the forefront, they do love the art of music, but I think they love the potential, financial gain they can get from being on top or being that artist that everyone wants to call and see and hear the music, hear these producers and things like that. They got to find more of a financial, I guess, goal compared to just the love of that music. And sometimes I think I can see it in some cases. Other times it's kind of like, well, this person, it seems to be, they're more in tune to the art of the music, especially if they're a writer, if they're a producer, because they're creating. They're not just performing, because anyone can perform to a certain degree. But if you're a true artist or a creator, you have a goal in mind to put out something that you think they're going to love. And, if you make money on it, great, beautiful. Everyone needs to make money. But for the sake of, what they're looking for, I think it's like 60-40. 40% are truly artists, and then the 60 is going to be more so, I'm trying to get that paper. So do you have an idea of, any percentages that you might see or hear or in your experience that you might think it's more so? Is it same, different, any kind of differences?
Um, well, I don't really deal with the percentages because I'm independent, so I don't have the wonderful opportunity of letting people take 60 and 50% of what it is I do. And you know, have I tried to get on labels in the past? I definitely did because we were taught that was the way to go. But even with that being in my mind, I still was doing it on my own. I put my first record out in 2000, with no social media, with no, you know, presence of help on, other than word of mouth and selling my CDs out the trunk and on CD Baby and all of that type of stuff. I didn't have the luxuries of what some people had back then and even now,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but what I had is the gift God gave me. And when I showed up, I gave you a reason why you should be a part of what it is God is doing through me.
Nice, nice. Yeah, well, I mean, the artists that I see, or kind of not even follow, but just kind of see, it's like a wash, rinse, repeat. And for the most part, yeah, something's going to sound the same. But there has to be some kind of uniqueness other than your look, Something has to be unique about you and your music, your producing, your writing, whatever it might be, that's going to keep you long term. If you sound like everybody, there's no uniqueness or not enough uniqueness, in my opinion. And if I hear a unique sound, a unique voice, even if they're not the biggest artist, biggest musician, biggest band, whatever it is, I'll gravitate towards that. And some people don't really get that because anyone can give you a sheet of paper and say, hey, write some lyrics on it. But not everybody can do that. Plenty of people can say, hey, here's an instrument. I want you to play to this melody or play to this, the song. Not everybody can do it the same way. And if you can find that really good uniqueness, then they got something.
Yes, sir.
And one final question, is there any upcoming projects that you got coming up that we should look out for?
Yeah, I got a few things happening. I got an EP dropping soon. Maybe at the end of the month. I'm not sure. That's the luxury of being independent. I can make the choice of what I want and when I want.
Nice. Being your own boss.
Yeah, and I have a vinyl, limited edition vinyl coming out. It'd be like some of my greatest hits from over the years. It won't be that many because vinyl don't hold that much. So, but it's it's a limited edition just because of that. And so I have that happening. I have a tour happening in end of summer, fall. I'll be on the road. What else I got going on? A buddy of mine who's a real gifted songwriter and artist in his own right, Jay Sean Champion. We have since formed an alliance, and we started a duet kind of thing. It's me and him, and we're calling it the 12, like the 12 disciples.
Okay.
And we're putting out an EP later this year. So I'm just doing what I love to do, keeping it going.
That's amazing. I can definitely appreciate your longevity, of course, your starting point, and being independent. Some people say independent is real tough, and I've heard stories and saying I tried independent, but it didn't quite work out, so I had to try to go to a label, and then that didn't quite work out, so they're kind of stuck between two hard choices about which one is going to be the best choice for them. And of course, we hear about all these great record deals, but at the same time, we don't know all the business that goes on behind the scenes. So you might be hot on the charts, but you're still living at home with your parents, or living with somebody in there supporting you while you're getting your feet wet, or really getting what you think you deserve as an artist or a musician. So being independent, I know it's got to be tough. It's like being an independent business owner or entrepreneur. You make all the decisions, you take all the risks, and if you make a great decision, beautiful. If you don't make the best decision, got to try it again, see what happens.
Yes, sir. I do have a team though. I haven't in a long time, but as of last year, I've been being managed by this management group out of Atlanta called J Robinson Management, and they take a lot of pressure off of me. A lot of stuff that I would have had to have done myself, they handle it for me. So I'm glad to have them in my corner, and along with other people that's on my team that works with me and helps keep me afloat, and also family. So you're nothing without real people behind you or working with you.
Totally agree. And that brings up another question. Being a musician or a traveling musician, not just a musician, how, I guess, how challenging can it be, has it been for you to manage your family life and family time compared to your professional life? And, you know, is there anything, any kind of, I guess, advice you would give to someone who does this kind of work? Because me, myself, working, typical 9 to 5 job, then weekends pretty much is trying to do this and that. And, you figure you can get about 2 hours of sleep and then you right back up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, going out to the next, whatever you got going on. And then sometimes your family is put to the back burner. What kind of advice would you give to those who are in this kind of field that has a wife, kids, or husband and kids, or just family in general that they don't want to neglect, just trying to get themselves to the next level?
Good question. Well, I'm not married, but I do have kids. I have 4 kids. Two of pretty much are grown. One is married, and who has given me a grandson. She's my oldest is my oldest daughter, Diamond. She's married, and she just gave me my grandson as my pride and joy. And then I have 2 other girls and a son. One, my daughter Zoe, she's in college at Berkeley School of Music, and got another one, Cadence, who's graduating in a week or two. And then my mini-me, my son, little Doobie, he's 16, but he's next up. He's playing everything, producing. He got it, so I'm happy that I can see the future, in the present. And so even through all of this, I had to do what I had to do to raise them. I had to stop doing what I was doing and go to recitals and go to different things, and you got to show up. That's the biggest part of being a parent. You may not be able to do everything, but you got to show up to what's important. And that's what I've tried to do over the years, and now they kind of take care of me.
That's a good thing. Good thing.
But you gotta be present. They gotta see. Sometimes it may be minuscule to us, to the parent, but it's big to them. Just them being able to look out and see you. Just be able to look out and see you sitting in the corner. That means much. So I try to make sure I do that.
That's good right there. I mean, not just me personally. Got grandkids that's, way out. I'm in the Carolinas and they're in New York. And there are certain things that goes on in their lives in school, plays, track meets or, graduations, things like that. And my wife and I, we try to make it our business to be up there for those special events. My granddaughter's going to be graduating this year itself, so we're going to be up there for the graduation and, that kind of time frame. When my grandson had plays, he'd say, "Hey, I got a play going on, Pop, you going to come up here?" I said, "You got to let me know the dates. Just, you don't let me know the dates, I can't make it happen. Let me know the dates." And he keeps in touch. He lets me know. Been up there and spent some time with the family in general, but specifically for him. And I would imagine they appreciate it. Now, of course, it's, small thing, 1 day, 2 days, and then it's kind of forgotten. But for the long term, that foundation of my grandfather, grandmother, my aunt, my uncle, my mother, my father, whoever was there in these important younger moments, And I know that's going to stick with them because it stuck with me in my life, parents and grandparents, things like that for, whatever's going on. So that's real good. I like that. So I really appreciate you joining us here this evening. And we look forward to, of course, anything that you got going on. I'm going to get some information from you, links, dates, things like that, so we can put that in the kind of show comments and notes and stuff like that. So any final words you have for us or for the people out there that you want to share with us?
Be true to yourself. Be true to what it is you love, even if it ain't music. Be true to what it is and be consistent, be steadfast, be unmovable. That's what the scriptures say. And make it count. And you'll be better for it in the end.
I like that. So you heard it straight from the man himself. So we appreciate you guys joining us on this show. Until next time, you guys stay tuned and stay blessed. Brother Doobie, enjoy the rest of your day and have a good one.